up, everyone? This is Coach Austin here coming to you from Hyper Strength and Conditioning here from San Jose, California, with your Nerd Out and Workout podcast, where we nerd out, work out on this podcast. And today I'm joined with Lynn Law.
Hello, hi.
Senior editor at CNET, gets to play with all the gizmos before they're released and tell us all about it. We're going to be nerding out about writing, how to write it, how to write, the professionality of it, how it can help you mentally improve your health. I mean, that's awesome. And I'm just really excited to have her because we actually go way back. We were neighbors at one point.
We went to high school together.
Walked our dogs.
We walked our dogs together. Austin lived like a 7-minute walk away from me. So
7 minutes, so exact.
it was very close. I timed it each time. And we would just walk our dogs and then I think just like talk about high school and
high school problems.
Yeah.
High school life.
Homework, tests, who knows.
Mr. Elwell.
Oh yeah.
Are you going to his
Yes.
school? You are?
I am, yeah. Even though the event calendar is like July 2019,
Yeah.
like somewhere really far away.
Yeah.
But I think like to go out of your way to thank a teacher is probably a good thing.
Dude,
yeah.
I went.
Did you go to the reunion?
He was telling me to do it.
Yeah.
But I went the day before the reunion because he was asking for speakers for his class. So I said, I'll pass.
Oh, I remember that. Yeah.
So I did a thing, and then Letty's like, oh, no, he is just like, oh, come to the thing, the reunion, it'll be great. And I'm like, oh, okay, maybe.
I went. It was like crazy.
Really?
Yeah, I went, but I missed the whole Guinness count and stuff like that. But it was really organized by a class, and it was like the people who graduated 1976, I think, was the first graduating class. And there was tons of people there, and then the more recent you got, the less people
Really?
from the classmates there. But they were crazy. They were like drinking, and they were like super spirited, and they had a bunch of like school spirit. I mean, it makes sense because people flew out to go to this reunion. Yeah, I was on the Facebook group just to like keep tabs and stuff like that. People were like renting hotels. They were like, I have my ticket. To them, also Facebook wasn't around for the majority. So like it was like a chance, their first real chances to see their classmates. And then you see class of 2000, whatever class we were in, 5, 9, 11?
5.
2005, and like no one showed up. I was like,
2005, no one showed up?
I was like the bleachers, they organized it by class, and then like you could just see it just petering down by the 2000s, no one was
Like
coming.
2018, like, fuck this.
Yeah, it's like and everyone stays in contact. Well, with Facebook, everyone kind of knows what everyone's up to anyway, so it didn't really.
Who was there for 05?
You
can say their names here.
Yeah, I really tried to meet up with Amy Wang. Do you remember her?
Yes.
Yeah, and like, so we tried to connect, but we couldn't because like she left before I got there. But that was like one person I was like really looking forward to seeing, and she came with other people too. I think like Bethia.
Oh.
But I'm not sure.
But it wasn't a big for 05. I heard 06 was a good amount, maybe. No.
I don't know. Like, like I felt like
our years were like, what? Why? We're busy trying to work.
But the 70s and the 80s class came in full force.
Dang.
Yeah, and I wanted to see Mr. Elwell too. That was like the one I was trying to find.
Yeah. Did you get FaceTime with him?
No, I couldn't find him. So this is why I wanted to go to his retirement party thing. And he's he's such a nice teacher.
It's the same.
Yeah,
it's the same thing. It's like, dude, I haven't left this class ever. Were you ever late for his class and then you have to do that manual tardy thing?
No, I don't remember that.
No, you're late and then you have to write, like you would have to take the slip and say, hey, I'm sorry, I'm late.
Oh.
And then turn it in.
No, I guess I always made it in time. I was just running to his class, class to class.
I never wrote it.
I still have my coloring anatomy book.
Really?
Yeah. I think, there's no way I'm going
to I've used it the first 5 years of my training career, then I don't know where I put it. But that thing saved my ass so many times.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was like, Piriformis, where the hell's that at? I was like,
trapezoid.
Trapezoid, yes, yellow.
Yeah, I like it. It's a good idea, the book. And you spend so much time with it. So I think it's just in my shelf somewhere.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn,
I mean, I don't carry it around with me actively, but it's like
why would you?
Why I have it right here.
Yes. What's hurting you?
But yeah. Oh, that's good. Of course it would come in handy with you professionally and stuff like that.
Oh, hell yeah. Because they're like, oh, I have a pain here. And I'm like, I need that coloring book. The blue muscle. Yes. Shit, man. All right, let's get back on topic. Sorry, guys. we just have fun here.
I haven't seen him in a long time, so we
Oh.
have to cover high school stuff.
So now she's killing it at CNET, playing with like the Samsung foldable phones. So I was actually asking her about this, but she didn't get a sheet yet, guys. So we'll have to wait for that.
Yeah.
We're now. So you're a professional writer.
Yes, I'm a professional writer. I'm very fortunate to write for money. It's kind of a rare thing, but somehow I've scraped by and tricked some people into giving me money for my words. So yeah, it's a hard industry, but it's really it pays off.
Is it a growing industry now, or is it kind of like a stagnant one, or what is it?
Well,
especially in this day and age.
Right. Well, when you talk about writing professionally, there's like so many different ways you can do it. So I'm in digital media and journalism, and that's in a very tumultuous industry, and that's going through its own changes, obviously. But there are other ways to write professionally, and you could also be an author, be a freelancer. You could be a legal writer, and people will, maybe writing isn't the most lucrative career that you could follow, but people will always, need good communicators, and they need good storytellers. And also people who could tell a story, not necessarily through writing, but also just like making content like this.
Yeah. I like that. And blogging, do you still do it? Do you do it a lot?
So I don't, because I write professionally, I don't write as creatively or like on my own time as much as I could or want to. I used to blog a lot back in high school and stuff like that. Well, because like Zanga and like
Originator Zanga, you hear that?
No.
Zanga.
I was huge into Zanga and stuff like that. But yeah, so I guess I blog in that I write online, but now someone pays me for it.
See?
So that's great. Yeah.
But it's like you said, it's like different. Because I noticed you said I don't get to write as creatively, and a lot of listeners who are listening to this, and I'm assuming because the way the title I'm going to title the show is nerding out about writing, and there's everyone nowadays, they're trying to write something. They're blogging. There's a lot more articles I'm seeing now. People blogging about a lot of other things, and now you're blogging professionally. What is the difference between a creative blog and a professional blog?
Well. So when I mean like I'm not writing creatively, it doesn't mean that I don't get to be creative in the work that I do. But there is writing that you do for yourself, and there's writing that you do for an audience. Because what I do has a journalism reporting background, that means that for journalists in our industry, at least, everything that we write has to be truthful with facts, and it's backed up and researched, and we get quotes.
Can be opinions.
Huh?
Can't be like straight up opinion.
Well, that's editorializing. I mean, we make there is a distinction between that, but with blogging, from your laptop and from you build a personality and you write whatever you'd like to write. But if you're writing for like a news publication, then that's different. So you'll have to report on your story and talk to sources, and that, because I do that. Like, it's my job, and the writing does come through that, so that's how, what am I trying to get here? I'm sorry. I'm just saying that there is two different distinctions between blogging for yourself and like blogging for a news publication and writing for a news publication.
So what about, because you did a piece, and I hope to find the link. I hope you send me the link. The link, you did a piece, we were talking about it earlier, about the San Jose piece.
Oh,
and I've never cracked up at an article when I was reading it, because you were just holding it down for San Jose. And the way you were writing it was like so real.
Right.
And it was just like, the way you articulated that article was like, dude, did you write that? Like, like it was well done. And then,
thank you.
Yeah. And I'm like, that's a professional piece. So you can get creative in that way. And it was just like, I don't know, like, is that, do you do a lot of that stuff too? Like, what was that? Was that like a special exception or what?
Yeah, well, where I work is like fortunate enough that if you want to write about something that you feel passionately about, our publication and our editors support that, which is like a really great thing. Not every job like allows you to do that. So this one was it started because WWDC, which is Apple's annual keynote, it was being held in San Jose, and for a while it was held in San Francisco. But because they were reconstructing the Moscone Center, they moved it to San Jose. And a lot of people on Twitter were like groaning, they're like, "Oh, San Jose sucks. Like, why would I want to go to San Jose?" And I was like, and at work, I'm kind of known to rep San Jose pretty hard. Because people in San Francisco, for some reason, don't really like San Jose because they think it's like boring and suburban. So yeah, it was just something that I pitched to my editors, and they loved it. I mean, it's relevant to what was happening, and it was relevant to the site. So I was like, I want to write a thing, like things you could do in San Jose while WWDC is in town. And they're like, great, yeah. And it was good because it was in my voice, and it wasn't, just a straight like travel activities list. So it was one of the more fun pieces that I got to write. And I was very fortunate to write it.
It was real. I was San Jose right there.
Yeah.
So I loved it. Yeah, we're going to link that in the show notes if I can find it again. Send it to me. That'd be great.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, so we're going to jump into the benefits of writing. Or actually, let me backtrack. We're going to go to, what did you start with? Benefits of writing?
Oh, yeah, the benefits of writing. Because you approached me in the beginning and you said, like, I want to talk about, like, the mental and psychological benefits of writing.
I'm like, random tangents now. But yes, the benefits and the health benefits of writing, because I feel like people are always thinking about working out and improving their health and all that stuff. It's all about physical. But there's a lot of mental growth that happens when you're trying to better yourself as a whole. And I truly believe writing is a big part of that, because that's literally the way you go from your thoughts to the physical, tangible thing. You know what I mean? So how is that, in your words, what do you think about that?
Oh, can I ask you what kind of writing you do? Like what time in your day do you journal?
I blog. Like I'll blog about, for me, it's more, I'm always writing emails to my clients, and I'll turn my emails into blogs. So I'm always writing about either an inspiring story or several facts about how they can improve their health and fitness. Like, those are the two things I usually write about. And to your point, I haven't had a chance to actually blog about what I've been doing on the day-to-day, which I've done before, and I want to get back into it. Because what I do on a day-to-day can actually be translated into, like, small business, entrepreneur, all that stuff. And blogging about that would be great too, but I don't do it.
Well, yeah, I mean, there are a lot of benefits to writing. I think one of the major things is just it helps you to be an effective communicator and to articulate your thoughts, because a lot of it comes through your head. So by putting it down on paper, you're kind of ironing everything out. You're kind of crystallizing your thoughts, which is actually kind of difficult to do because sometimes you're thinking a million things. So
crystallizing your thoughts. I like that.
Yes.
I like that.
Yeah, and it slows you down to it helps me slow me down when I'm like something's on my mind or I'm worried about something, to write it out, and it makes me kind of forces me to like visualize, like, okay, well, what am I scared about? What am I excited about? And then I'll just write that down. And to see it, like you said, on a tangible piece of paper or like on the screen, it helps because if you do it a lot, like journaling or something, which I really advocate everyone to journal.
Why is that?
I think it's just really accessible. You can always, and it's writing for yourself and not for an audience. And you'll just see your own thoughts kind of evolve, like how your own thoughts and your voice evolve. Like how I write when I was 13 is not how I write when I was 23. Thank God. And all those Zynga journals.
I hate this shit. This is stupid.
Yeah, and I probably, I won't write the same when I'm like 33 and 43. So seeing that on paper and seeing that evolve, it kind of like, it sees how you were thinking at that time in that stage. Even though, like I kind of cringe at my 13-year-old writing, it was what I was thinking about. It was like my hopes and my fears and my dreams when I was 13 years old. So it was mostly about like boys not liking me or something.
Oh, God.
Or like homework and stuff like that. But it was like, there's no other kind of record keeping besides photos and stuff like that. But there's no like photos of your thoughts, and journaling is kind of like a way to, it's like a time capsule.
Time capsule.
Time capsule, right.
Is Zynga still up?
No, they let everyone know that they were like shutting down all the blogs and stuff, and that you had like an X amount of weeks to download your old entries.
Did you download?
Of course I did.
You did?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I did
it for years, so it was just like, I'm not saying like there'd be any money in there later, but I just kind of want to see what I was going through. Some of it was like really cringy, but some of it was like just kind of like nice, and it was like, oh, I'm worried about tests and worried about the exam coming up.
Oh, must be nice. Must be nice to worry about those things before. That's all you have to worry about.
How little you knew back then, past Lynn.
Damn it. But yeah, dude, you guys, if you guys are listening to this, you guys should, ladies and gents, should definitely go back. If you were writing in the past, just like how Lynn was, Zanga, if you did that, I challenge you to go and look back and see how you evolved. Because I don't think we take time for ourselves to actually reflect back and see, you know, how we've grown and all that stuff. And I think that's pretty cool. Because you want to get all cringy, look back at yourself 20 years ago. 15 years ago.
Wow, that's like some major self-reflection there. Like,
oh my God.
Such a douchebag.
Oh, thank God YouTube wasn't around then. Ooh.
Yeah, and it's different because when you look at the stuff you write publicly, you are different than what you write privately. So when you look at, I mean, cringy stuff was already on Facebook, old Facebook posts anyway. So when it's private stuff, it's like even like, oh God. Oh. Yeah, but it's more honest, I figured. I hope. I mean, when you write for yourself, I hope you're not putting on like any sort of personality.
Facade.
Yeah.
I am.
Like, who are you trying to impress with your diary to yourself?
I write in the third person when I write my diary.
Yeah.
Austin liked this pizza. It was enjoyable. Okay, cool. So, is that all the health benefits? That you think?
I mean, there's so many. When you approached me with it, I was like, I looked it up online. Yeah, I was like, oh, I'm not really. There's one with like self-reflection, which you mentioned before.
I think people don't get enough time for that.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, I think like self-reflection is something that you have to practice almost like. Even now, like a lot of the advice, they're like, take time in the morning to, look back on the day before and like, what are your goals today? So I think it's just like any kind of questions you ask yourself is always good. And then if you put it on writing, it's even better. I
think when you put it on writing, like you put it out there, universe, and you hold you accountable because you're like, oh shit, I wrote this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like not like, oh, I said it, but I don't know if I really said that. It's like, oh, you wrote it. It's like, oh, yeah, I wrote it.
Yeah, it does hold you accountable, especially when you write, like the goals and your dreams. And I do that, like, I did it a bunch of times when I was throughout my years and like what I wanted to do. And then so when you see it accomplished, it's like kind of nice. But then when you see it not accomplished, it's also like, ugh. It's like lose 10 pounds. You're like, that's not gonna happen. Like,
it's like, race.
I never wrote that.
So what are your goals right now as a writer?
Well, that's a good question. I always want to, it's be a better writer. I guess is that kind of too obvious? I want to be a more disciplined writer, especially when you work professionally. People think like you just spur of the moment. I'll just be inspired and then I'll just like write whatever I want to write, and it'll just be gold and all this stuff. But it's definitely a discipline. Like it's a muscle that if you get into a schedule. I really admire writers that I know who, wake up every day and they write from like 6 to 8 or something like that. Yeah,
they just go.
And they just go. Or like they work, it doesn't even have to be in the morning. They could like come home and then they write. And it could be a freelance project that they do or something that they, like their own novel that they're working on or something like that. So that takes a lot of discipline, and that is something I really admire and I want to get better at.
Are you writing a book?
No, I'm not. I would like to.
You should write a book.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, I'd read that.
Oh, thank you.
And then do an Audible book.
Yeah.
That'd be sick.
Yeah, I'll hire someone else to read it, though.
What?
Someone with like a better voice. Like David.
No, you gotta read it.
Yeah. No, I'll do someone like David Attenborough, and then the guy who narrates like Planet Earth and stuff.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. No, I'm kidding, because he's just an old British guy. And if he was like reading my memoirs, it would just be really...
I heard this thing, I guess, I don't know if it's a thing, like, if people listen to it in a British accent, it's like they listen to it.
Yeah.
Versus like an American accent, like, they're like, oh, this guy's an idiot. But then you say the same shit in a British accent. It's like, oh, it's very intellectual.
Well, that probably works on Americans, but British people who, right. But British people who hear things in British accents, they're like, that's just normal talking. Fuck? Yeah.
Well, that's what I don't know. I guess, for Americans, you make a really good point. I don't know where I read that.
I mean, I totally buy it. Yeah.
Someone told me about it, I think. But you should read your own audit.
Yeah. Well, I have to write it first before I start.
What would you write about?
I don't know. It's so they always say like everyone has like a book in them.
Would you do fantasy?
No, I'm not good at writing fiction, so I can't like write anything that I don't see in front of my face.
Memoir.
Sometimes I think about that, but I'm not that interesting to write a memoir. You know, it would just be about like this girl who grew up in the Bay Area, and she got like, some extraordinary thing has to happen. I feel like if you get a memoir, or you have to be extremely, extremely funny, and funny is really hard to do.
I know that, but you're funny.
Oh, thank you.
You're one of the I've running into funny people. It's a common thing. I deal with a lot of people, but for people who are genuinely funny, you're among like the top 10.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Like Friends, you're like the Phoebe. Like I'm dead serious. Like
I'll take it. She's like one of the coolest. Actually, if you said any of the Friends characters, I would be like, that's fine. They're all hilarious.
Joey.
That one's a stretch, but
Joey doesn't share food.
Yeah, but actually, and I'll die for saying I'll go to my grave. Joey is the most loyal of the Friends member. Yeah, because Chandler does some shady stuff sometimes. But Joey, he kissed Joey's girlfriend one day.
Yeah, he did.
But
Joey's so genuine.
Joey
He's
is
so
like
innocent,
very loyal, and he really likes his friends. So I mean, they're all great. So I will take Phoebe and. Everyone.
Didn't he do his sister too? Chandler?
Yeah, Chandler made out with his, Joey's sister, and didn't tell Joey.
And then Joey
like
had to sock him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or no, one of his other sisters punched him.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Don't quiz me on my friends' knowledge. I'm very good. Don't test me. I know.
Well, we're gonna start having game nights in the gym. So when we have a friends trivia night, I'll invite you out.
Oh yeah, I went to a friends trivia night once, and I was like, I'm gonna win this. This is gonna be great. I know Friends. Everyone knows Friends. I barely placed second to last,
Really?
and I got like almost every question right. It was because I missed one or two or something, but everyone else got like all of them.
Really?
Right. Yeah.
Was it like a time buzzer thing?
No, it was just like a pub trivia night thing. But you think like, oh, I know Friends. I'm really good. Everyone also knows Friends.
Dude.
It's a very beloved show. So yeah.
We were gonna play you here. You're gonna be invited. You're gonna be on our team.
Okay. Get ready to win then. I'm really good.
We're gonna fucking destroy it. Okay, so, man, what did you write? What did you write here? Emerging. We're like going.
Everyone can write was what I wanted to.
That is a good topic, ladies and gents. Everyone can write. Please elaborate.
Yeah. Well, just I feel like sometimes people don't think they can, or that they have to fit a certain kind of way, because I guess writing has like really highbrow connotations sometimes. But it's totally accessible and everyone can do it. And I don't think that you have to be particularly I think people just have like an image of writers, and that they're like, oh, that's something that I don't want to associate myself with, or I don't see myself being. But I think everyone can write, and you can write for yourself, and you can write for an audience, and as long as you have a voice that you're comfortable with, and your voice changes and will evolve, but that's okay. But I think if it's writing to be a writer, then that's kind of like a different conversation. But if it's writing to express like your thoughts and stuff, like, everyone could absolutely do that, and they should, and it will just help. Like, especially if you're going through something like difficult, and you just feel kind of like powerless. I feel like writing it down helps you kind of grapple that. Just has a little. I'm not saying like it'll empower you to solve completely what's troubling you, but it does kind of give you a little bit of a handle. Like, if it's like when you're like grabbing on a bar, and it helps me at least steady myself.
It's like a sense of control.
Yeah.
So that's why you encourage people to at least do journaling.
Yeah, especially when they're going through something that they just feel like, especially if they're going through something personal. Yeah. I'm not saying journaling is going to solve all your problems, but it does.
I need a journal. I'm sick.
I know. But it does help, especially regain a sense of control, I feel. For me, at least. Yeah.
No, there's this I actually do an online diary that not many people know about. I think my wife knows about it. Now everyone listening to it knows about it. Fuck. Well, that's why I said I'm genuine here. But anyways, yeah. And when I go through some tough times, especially with business and stuff like that, I'll write into that thing.
Yeah.
And sometimes like I'll be like, I gotta write more when I'm happy, because like over the years it's like, man, this is dark. Like,
That is true. I write a lot more when I'm like sad.
right?
Yeah.
And it's like, I need to write more when I'm happy, because it's like, this is like a death novel. It's like, it's bad.
Well, but I remember there was this one time where something was going really well, or I was feeling better about something, and then all I did was like, Lynn, I like got out a piece of paper. It was like, Lynn, on this date, you feel more than okay, or something like that.
Oh.
And then it was just like, because I just had to crystallize that one moment, and I just was like marking why. I was like, because this is happening and XYZ is happening, and then I was like, and I just like put it aside, because I was like, I don't write about when things are good. So that was just like my way of doing it.
Yeah.
But that's good, because, you know, people on Facebook, they always say, like, we only put photos of the good times.
Highlights.
And now it's the reverse. We put the highlights for photos and then the lowlights in writing.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, there's some people who like have I've been seeing this more, like it'll be like an epic picture and it's like, I was so depressed and
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, okay.
It's like, you see me smiling in this photo, but I was battling all this stuff. I'm like, oh, God, okay.
Why did you post it? I liked it. Will that help you? Like, but yeah, no, that's a really good point.
Yeah, and I do remember, I forgot who said it, but I think it was Sylvia Plath. It was probably Sylvia Plath, because she's like one of my favorite writers. But she says that sometimes, you know, writing helps you out of a hole, like, because it'll make you think of things you didn't realize before, or solutions that you didn't really think about. And then by writing it down, you're kind of like seeing through, you're working the problem out, and you could write yourself out of a hole, which I'm over-promising, under-delivering, but it happens sometimes. Like, through every day, if you're like writing about something can come to you that you didn't realize.
I believe that.
Yeah.
Because that's helped me get out of a rut. That's helped me get out of like a mental block. A lot of times when you just start writing, because I guess do you think different? I'm sure you think differently when you're writing, because for some reason when you just start writing, you start.
Well, it's definitely more linear, right?
Right?
It's forcing you to think linearly,
Yeah.
Which is how it helps you with any like decision-making process and stuff like that, or solution-making process.
I like it.
What were you gonna say? I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No, now you got me thinking. Like, that actually got me thinking. Because it's linear. Because everyone, especially people like me, scatterbrained, always thinking about, the next project, the next thing, then what's going on, what can I do next, da da da. And then when you just said it's a linear thought, you just made me think like, oh my fucking God, that's actually pretty true. Because when you start writing,
unless you have like 5 arms that can write all of that.
No, but it's like everything that you think about goes into this one stream of thought.
Well, you're forcing it to be funnel into this thing, right?
I love it. No, that's like, fuck, that makes sense. That makes a fuck ton of sense. I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna put that in the show notes. There was a third thing you wanted to talk about in writing.
Yeah. Oh, just I didn't know if we wanted to talk about professional writing or not.
Yeah, because there's
gonna
be
have
some
to,
people.
but-
No, okay.
Oh, okay. No, but
No, there's some people who, I know there's people who, because I think I'm seeing more people shift to like, pursue the passion you want to pursue and this and that. And there is people who want to get into the profession of writing. And I have a professional writer right next to me. So let's talk about your story becoming a professional writer and how it can kind of play off to people, and what your kind of advice is to people who want to start a career and get into this path of writing. Because I think people, I don't know, maybe this is just me, but it, like you said, like it's like, writing may not be an admirable or like a lucrative profession, but I truly believe people want to. There's a demand out there. They just don't know how to do it. Type of thing.
And you don't have to also like solely be a writer just to, want to also write well. I mean, there's a lot of aspects of different jobs that like writing would benefit from, because communicating clearly is a big business asset. It's really hard because, or it's really funny because you think when you apply for jobs and stuff, clearly communicating is like a huge deal, but people don't really think about it. Even when you're an engineer or something like that, that's something that's related to that's not related to writing. When they're not a clear communicator, on paper at least, they're like, writing is a huge skill that people need. I think people don't realize it because it's just like, it's not a hard science. I'm not saying obviously writing is the best thing and everyone should be it, and I mean, there's all this like science and math. Of course, those are really important. But I think writing is kind of overlooked a lot, especially in education and stuff like that. Yeah. Anyways, so if you want to write professionally, or even like want to incorporate more writing into your professional work, to whatever you're doing, my first advice would be to read. Okay. So basically reading and like good books and even reading the news, I mean, that's people who've already made it and they are writing and this is their product. So, you know, it's like if you want to be a mathematician or something, you're just looking at all the solved problems that other people before you solved. And that's good. That's how you learn. So writing, by reading the writing of other people who have been edited and who have become financially successful for being good writers, you're reading their work. So that's just all. You're internalizing good writing.
That's pretty good. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not? And then so, you know, read a lot. I really get annoyed when people say, like, I don't have time to read, or, like, I used to read, but I don't, like, people make time.
They have Audible now.
Yeah.
Audiobooks,
you could do it on their commute. And also, like, people, not that, like, I don't go on the internet. I go on the internet all the time, but, like, I think when the internet came, now it's, like, every person, don't quote me on this, but like, but every person like carve 2 hours of their day to go online. Like people spend their time online. You could carve a little bit of time to read. And sometimes when I hear it, every time when someone's like, "Oh, I wish I had time to read," it's like I don't like sit around do nothing and read. I'm like, people can read too. You can read too. It's always a little condescending, I hear, like when people say that. So I was like, anyways.
I have no time to read.
Yeah, it's like you have a lot of time, obviously. It's
like, okay. It's like, bitch. It's like, God. You can read it on your phone right now.
Yeah, and I think people should read anything. There's like also like this idea that you have to read the highbrow stuff, but you could read. I don't even know like when people like read trashy novels. I don't even think that exists.
What's
like
trashy novels?
You don't like when they read like trashy romance novels. I just like hate when people call it like trashy. It was like, what's trashy about it? I mean, it's just like people like to read whatever they want to read. You know.
Do you read the Game of Thrones stuff?
No, I'm not really big on science fiction, only because of that. I just was talking about read everything, and then I'm like, oh, I don't read science fiction. But I do. There was like I read. There was a time when I was like, I don't read enough science fiction, so I went and read like a fantasy, the Golden Compass trilogy. Do you know that one?
Okay.
Yeah, and I was like, this is great, and then I just never. I want to read Dune though. That's like that one's becoming a movie, and that's just a.
What's Dune?
Dune. Oh, you know, it's like this huge science fiction, like on the level of like. I hope like no Dune people come out and like if I'm getting this wrong, but it's like this crazy sci-fi world that's like just as intricate and complicated as Game of Thrones and stuff like that.
No way.
Yeah.
Is it around the same kind of realm?
It's like a totally different universe, but it's like super. It has a lot of hardcore fans. It's got to be made into a movie. It's already been made into a movie, but it's got to remake into a movie. And they say it's just like a really successful sci-fi series.
Huh.
Yeah. I don't read Game of Thrones or watch. It's too much rape. I don't like it. It was like I heard it was like, and plus I know everything.
There's a lot of rape in there.
Yeah, it's just like I don't want to. I was like, it's escapism. Why do I want to watch? But I know it's like good storylines and stuff. But I don't know. And plus I already know everything that happens because the spoilers, I guess.
Oh well, I think the ones that are
like the big ones, you know, like all your favorites will die. So it's like okay.
Then why watch?
And then the Red Wedding thing. Do you watch it?
Dude, yeah. Like Giselle and I are big fans on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Red Wedding was like. When we were catching up to it, everyone's like, wait till the Red Wedding. And I'm like, what happens?
Someone told you that?
They said, wait till the Red Wedding.
Oh.
And then I'm like...
I hate spoilers. So even, like, knowing that something is even coming up, like, it makes you anticipate it.
And I'm like, I don't... But I guess I forgot. Because when it happened, I'm like, what is this? I was like, what's happening? Oh, no. And she wouldn't accept it. She's like, rewind it. We missed something. And I'm like,
it's a dream sequence.
You mean rewind it? Dude straight up gets stabbed. Like...
Everyone, okay, we don't have to talk about it. Because I don't want to, take that away from anyone who hasn't seen Red Wedding.
They need to see it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We're going to end this podcast with a series.
Already?
No, not yet.
Oh, okay.
Trust me, when I say end, it's going to take a while. We're going to end with a series of questions from me now.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Rapid fire. Is this rapid fire?
It's rapid fire.
Oh, okay. I wasn't prepared for this.
I know.
Gotcha journalism
this
right
one
here.
I gotcha.
Do you
Unless you wanted to elaborate on other things.
Oh, no. No, that's it. That's fine. Do you do this to every guest?
I'm going to start to.
Oh, okay. Are they gonna be the same set of questions? Is it like John Lipton like inside the actor studio?
Maybe.
Yeah,
Perhaps.
that'd be nice.
That'd be great. But maybe. I just had a thought in my head now.
That
okay.
you want to ask me a series of all these questions?
I had 3 questions.
Okay.
I had 3 questions because these questions were actually given to me by Rambir, who's the co-owner of Sounds of Barbell. He started like rapid firing me, and these questions were really interesting. And I'm like, I want to start asking my guests these questions.
Okay.
So it's gonna be pretty interesting. So
you should let him know that you're doing that.
Oh, I'm gonna let him know.
Yeah, you're like, taking your idea. It's
he's
good.
gonna hear it.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I told him I was gonna take it. Oh, that's my phone. That's so bad. Sorry, guys. Lord of the Rings or Rocky?
The series, the whole series.
That's just a question.
Oh, okay. I guess Lord of the Rings, even though I haven't seen all of it.
Why?
Although I do love Creed. Creed was so great, and Coogler, who's from Oakland, directed it, and I just really loved it.
Yeah.
And also Michael B. Jordan's amazing. But I guess as a series as a whole, Lord of the Rings.
I like how you said Lord of the Rings, but Rocky the Creed though.
Well, Creed was like really great, but Lord of the Rings, I guess, in terms of influence, yeah. Yes.
You sure? You confident with that answer?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I don't know what the consequences of these answers are, but yeah. I thought you were gonna say Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter because I feel like those two are more like analogous.
No, the Harry Potter question's next.
Oh, okay. I haven't read any Harry Potter, and
Really?
Yeah, and I've just started watching the movies.
Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, or Slytherin?
So those are the schools.
Yeah, those are the 4 houses.
The houses.
Which one?
I know Hufflepuff is the one that everyone hates because it's like friendship and stuff, right? So Hufflepuff, who doesn't want to be a good friend?
She's also Hufflepuff.
Yeah.
But like,
and isn't Slytherin like the mean people?
They're the ones who will just save their own asses.
Yeah. So, but they're like really smart. I mean, all the houses are smart. Like you can't get into Harry Potter school without
Hogwarts without having magic.
Without being smart
or without having powers.
Oh, so even if you have powers and you're not...
There's some wizards that are not the brightest.
Yeah. But they have to have like a standardized test to get... There's like an SAT of...
Man, you are like really nerding out about Hogwarts.
No, I just...
Well, you haven't even read a book. Or you read it, but you haven't even like got into the world.
I haven't read it, but I'm going to say Hufflepuff because they're nice, right? And their powers are like they're good friends. So who doesn't want to be a good friend? Do you know what color they are? Purple? Are they purple? They have colors now?
Yeah.
Oh, I think the main one is green, right? And
no,
then
that's Slytherin.
Oh. Okay.
I mean, depending on how you look at Harry Potter.
Yeah. Purple? Is it orange?
It's yellow.
It's yellow? Okay. That's a good color.
I'm just.
I thought it was gonna be some terrible like color.
No, I'm just asking. Okay, so all right. Here's another one. How many chickens would it take to kill an elephant?
Oh. Well, now I have to think about a death of an elephant, which makes me really sad. I guess.
But they take down, not to kill.
To take down.
Say tackle an elephant. Let's say that.
To make it fall or something like that. You know, I would just say 1 because elephants are so nice that they'd probably trip over themselves trying to not step on one chicken.
That is the best answer I've heard of that question.
Oh, okay, good.
That is the best answer.
Because I could imagine, because elephants are really like empathetic, so they probably would be like, "Whoa, I don't want to kill you, chicken friend," and they'd probably like trip over themselves. So, yeah.
That is the best answer. That's a really good answer.
Oh, thank you.
I said like 20,582 in the last episode, and then Rammer's like, "Yeah, 20,582." Da-da-da-da. Okay, but 1 because of that reason alone. That's how you're thinking. That's good. I like that. All right.
Give me another one. I'm ready. I like these.
Sailor Moon.
Ugh. Easy. And whatever you're going to say. I will probably just choose Sailor Moon.
Because you're wearing a Sailor Moon thing.
I'm wearing Sailor Moon. So, well, I guess let me finish. Let's have you finish.
Well, Sailor Moon. Well, I was going to say Sailor Moon or Sailor Mars, but you were just going to go Sailor Moon.
Oh, I thought you were talking about like another series.
No, I was going to say
Sailor Moon or Sailor Mars. Well, my favorite is Jupiter.
Oh.
Because she's like a tomboy, but she like cooks and she's like boy crazy, so I really like that. But Sailor Moon or Sailor Mars? I like Sailor Mars. I feel like she's misunderstood a lot because people call her like the bitchy Sailor Scout. But
yeah.
She's
fire.
Yeah, but her and like Sailor Moon just have a relationship because she's like she calls her out on her shit. She's still a good friend, and she's like a shrine priest, which is really cool.
Is she? I haven't dived into it much.
Dived into it. This is like canon stuff. This is easy. It's like Sailor Moon 101.
She's not getting mad at me. I don't know much Sailor Moon stuff.
You should know. It's a great
What's wrong
anime.
with you?
Yeah, it's a great anime. And it's not like a girl anime. Oh, well, especially, I mean, I guess when we were kids, it was like, Dragonball Z or Sailor Moon. But now that we're older, we should just all watch it.
That's true.
Yeah. I mean, I watched Dragon Ball Z. Well, it was like okay for girls to watch, any anime, but like guys to watch Sailor Moon was kind of like. But like Dragon Ball Z was like a million cliffhangers. I was like,
yeah, dude, it sucked.
I was like,
it's like really. Yeah, you guys actually had completion. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And I feel like Dragon Ball Z was very episodic. It was kind of like one fight is stretched.
Oh my god,
like
they
10
stretched it to 10 episodes. I'm like, dude, are you gonna kill Frieza or not? Oh my god. Okay, next one. Ramen or pho? Ooh.
Pho. Ramen is too rich sometimes. I like it every so often, but pho.
I like how you said pho. You're like, pho,
I'm
dude.
Vietnamese. It's obvious.
Okay,
I rep pho.
Some people say ramen.
Yeah, it's too fatty sometimes. I just had pho today. Yeah, I think ramen has its purposes, but pho is really light. It's not as heavy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll take that. Do you have anything else for me?
Yeah. What do you get out of writing?
What do I get out of writing?
Yeah.
That's actually a really good question. I never thought about that. I think it's going back to your quote of crystallizing my thoughts. I think because I'm so scatterbrained, it gives me a chance to record how I am at the moment, so then I could reflect back on it in the future. And it was really weird because the other day I was writing an email and I was like, oh, I need to like do a topic. And sometimes I'll go back to like the blogs I wrote in 2012 or 2014. Mm-hmm. And I pulled up one of them in my Google Drive and I was reading it. I was cracking up. I was like, oh my God, who the fuck wrote this? And it was me. And I was like, aside from like some spelling errors, I was like, oh, that's cool. Like, it's just cool. Like, sometimes I look back and I'm like, oh, I was funny. So what I get out of running is like I get to like check myself of how I am evolving, because we kind of alluded, or you were talking about that earlier, and it was just like those are some cool things about writing that I've enjoyed.
Yeah.
Because it's like you kind of, it's like a time capsule. You kind of look back to see how you're thinking and see how you're evolved. Or sometimes it's like, oh, you still have that same sense of humor. Or maybe you were funny. You were funnier before, man. You suck now, or something like that. It's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
So that's what I get out of it.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you like it. Everyone all should benefit from writing.
Everyone right
this
now.
This has been a message from the National Writing Lobbyist.
Lobbyist.
Sent me here to make people write.
Do you have any last words? Anything you want to say to our listeners?
I just want to emphasize discipline in writing and the idea that I think Ira Glass, who's the host for This American Life, which is a podcast, one of his more popular quotes is that, like, only through a volume of work do you close the gap between the writing that you want to do and the writing that you admire in other people. Because sometimes you write and you're like, this is trash. Like, yeah. I can't believe, and then you read everyone else who you admire, and you're like, oh, why can't I ever write like that? And so his was like, only through a volume of work can you bridge that gap a little bit closer. And I agree, because in college I was writing a column, and it was every week that you had to write it. It was like a deadline. Oh, wow. And some days, like, the column was trash, because it was just like, and some days it was okay, but it was only because I got into that practice of, like, I had to write one a week for 4 years. And then you look back at the volume of work, and I have like 1 or 2 or 3 that I'm really proud of, but I wouldn't have gotten to those without the other ones. Wow. Because you have to just write a lot.
It's a skill, right?
It's a skill, yeah. I think people think like, oh, you get a stroke of inspiration and then a stroke of inspiration and that's it. Yeah, and it's like, no.
Reps.
Everyone who's a professional writer has like a shit ton of writing that they've done that they think is crappy, and yeah.
So it's like reps.
Yes, it is like reps. It's so good to bring it back to fitness.
Reps and volume, guys and ladies. It's not about maxing out. Everyone wants to max out.
Yes.
Like, get sparked with inspiration. No, everyone wants to max out. No, it's reps and volume. God damn it.
Yeah, I bet your audience is the most disciplined people, waking up and going to the gym.
Sure.
Yeah. I'd also like to say this is about the second time I've ever been in a gym.
Really?
Yeah.
Welcome.
Only you could get me into a gym.
Yeah. What was the first time?
I was like touring with my parents, the Villa Sports tour gym, because
I was actually there yesterday.
Yeah, I wanted to sign them up because this was like years ago, where because you have like a spa and stuff like that,
Yeah,
and they
yeah.
were getting older, so I was like, let's check this out.
Yeah,
it's
and
a
they
nice
have a pool.
facility.
It's a really good
Yeah.
facility. They have like classes.
Yeah.
For
So again, not working out at all.
you have to walk the stairs though to tour it.
Yeah. Yeah, I will count that as my fitness thing. I'm the unhealthy.
Actually, no. You mentioned earlier you play soccer with Matsumoto.
Oh yeah, my adult league soccer.
Shout out to Mark Matsumoto. I haven't talked to you in a while, but what's up, man?
Austin said you're the nicest guy, and he's like, oh, how is he these days? And I assure you, he's still the nicest guy.
He's the nicest guy. One of the nicest guys in the world.
And he's genuinely nice. That's the freaky thing.
Yeah. Like,
he's not doing it
he's
to like
top 3 in my book. Maybe the top 1. It's because I meet a lot of people, but right now he's like the top 1 right now. Yeah.
I assure you, he's exactly.
Where is he?
nice.
You said he's like. Where is he? Is he?
Well, I'll see him tomorrow. I'll tell him.
Tell him to
you
listen
said
to his
hi.
podcast. Guy's awesome. But yeah, well, thank you, Lynn.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you for reaching out.
Yes. Thank you for coming on the Nerd Out Workout podcast. Guys, ladies, and gents, thank you guys for listening. Please follow us at Nerd Out and Workout on the Instagrams, Nerd Out and Workout. And please subscribe on whatever you're doing, iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, whatever. It'll help us. Eventually we'll get sponsors. But yeah, this is Coach Austin with Lynn Law at Hyper Strength and Conditioning with your Nerd Out Workout podcast. And we'll see you guys later. Bye. Bye-bye. Okay, love you. Bye.